So welcome dear students. So our today's topic is nomenclature of bicyclo and spiro compounds. So this will be very important for NEET. So let's start first of all with bicyclo compounds. So let me write it here. So in case of bicyclo compounds, first of all, what are these? These are those compounds in which we are having actually two rings. There must be two rings. For example, if I'm having just this is one of the ring and this is another ring which is attached to this, so this is definitely your bicyclic compound. So it must contain two rings. And now here are some important terms which you will actually note down here. Number first, that in case of bicyclic compounds, we are having this carbon actually which is attached to, which is joining these two rings. This is known as bridgehead carbon. So you will remember that this is known as bridgehead carbon. Bridgehead carbon. Similarly, this one carbon, it will be also your the same, that is your bridgehead carbon. And now this is your bridge which is connecting these two rings together. Now in this bridge there can be either no carbon at all, that is zero carbon. Just you are seeing here, there is no carbon between these two bridged carbon atoms. Similarly, there can be one carbon atom, there can be two carbon atoms, right? So you will remember this. So this is your bridgehead carbon, and this is simply a bridge which connects these two rings. There must be two rings. I hope that you have understood. In case of bicyclic organic compound, there must be two rings. Now, how to give IUPAC name to such bicyclic organic compounds? So let me tell you that first of all, whenever we have these compounds, you will first use the prefix, that is the bicyclo. So I will write here bicyclo is the prefix which is used for these organic compounds in order to give the IUPAC name to them. Then is the numbering. So where from we will start the numbering? We will just start the numbering from this bridgehead carbon. So let me write here carbon number 1. So then it is 2, 3, 4, 5. So then this one is the 6, 7, and 8, and 9. So that means now there is very important rule which you will here note down. That is, we have to start numbering from that side, from the bigger ring which contains maximum number of carbon atoms. See, we are here having 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon atoms. Now here in this bridge side we are having only 1, 2, 3 carbon. So we have to always start numbering from the bigger ring, from such ring which contains maximum number of carbon atoms. Then we will give numbering to another ring which contains lesser number of carbon atoms. So then what we have to write? We have to write in square brackets the number of carbon atoms. See here we are having 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will first write 4, then dot, that means full stop. I have to have here full stop. Then see 1, 2, 3 carbons in another ring, right? Another bridge. Then now between these two bridged carbon atoms there is 0. So I will write 0 carbon. So that is 4.3.0. Now this is very important. We have to write them in descending order. This is very important. Descending order we have to follow. And then I will just write here the name. So that means, so first of all, I will just write it here. So that means now I will just count the number of carbon atoms, that is 9. So I will just write here, it is non, right? For 9 carbon atoms, I will use the word root non, then single bond are there. So we will use the primary suffix, that's an, so it's non. So it is bicyclo 4.3.0 non. So hope that you have understood this one. Now let me give another example so that you can tell the IUPAC name of such compounds. So for example, now if I'm having just like this is one of the ring here. Then we're having another ring like this. So we are both here having the similar rings. So first of all, we should know the bridged carbon, and I already told this, and this will be your bridged carbon atoms. So we'll start numbering. So 1, then I have to choose that ring which contains maximum number of carbon atoms. See 1, 2, 3. Here also 1, 2, 3. So you can do numbering from both the sides. So it will be same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that means it is your octane, right? Octane. And before that, what I told, that means you will first of all write the prefix, that is your bicyclo, and then in the square brackets, now count the number of carbon atoms in this ring. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and between these two bridged carbons it is 0. So I will write 3.3.0, and then I will write the octane. So hope that you have understood this one. So I'm again repeating the rules. First of all, bicyclic organic compound is that which contains two rings, isn't it? And these are the bridgehead carbon atoms too, right? Now next is very important. So we will use the prefix bicycle, and then numbering is very important. Numbering is done from such ring, from such a side which contains large number of carbon atoms, then to another ring which contains lesser, isn't it? So then we have to write them in square brackets, the number of here carbon atoms in both the rings. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then here 1, 2, 3, and then 0. I hope that you have understood. It is actually this and this bridged carbon. There is no carbon in between the two bridged carbon atoms, so that is 0 here. Then it is the non-end. So let's move to the next page. Then if I will write just like this, for example, let's say we're having this one bicyclic organic compound. Now here the SAM, that is, this is your bridged carbon and this is your bridged, and I told we had to start numbering from the bridged carbon and then the bigger ring, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, and 7. So that definitely it is your heptane. So I will first write it is your bicyclo, and then in the square brackets it will be 1. We are here having 1, 2, 3, and 4 carbon atoms in this ring. Dot, there is only one carbon here, so 4.1, then dot 0, because there is no carbon between the two bridged carbon atoms. So then I will write here it is your heptane. So the name is bicyclo 4.1.0 heptane. Now it's very important that sometimes see what we will have just like this. Okay, let me write it down. For example, let's see. Just let's see, we are having like this one. So hope that you have got this one. This is also here the carbon, isn't it? So these are the bridged atoms. I will show it by these yellow dots. These are the bridged carbon, right? So then we had to start the numbering. So I told it is number 1 here, isn't it? Then the bigger ring, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you will give number to this one, 6 here, and this one is the 7th one. So it is also your heptane, isn't it? It contains 7 carbon atoms. But now what is the difference? How you will name this one? We will first write the bicyclo, and then in the bigger we are having 1, 2, 3. So I will write 3, and then here it is 1, here it's also 1, so 3.1.1. So we have to follow the descending order. This is very important. And then I will write the heptane. So this is your heptane, correct? Yes. So I hope that you can now give the name to these bicyclic compounds. Let me now write another one which is containing substituent. For example, if there is double bond or substituent, then what you will do in that case? For example, if I'm having just like this one, so what you will do here, we know here that this is the bridged carbon and this is bridged carbon, and this contains 1, 2, 3, 4, and this 1, 2, and 3. So we have to start numbering from this side. Double bonded carbon atoms should get lowest number, but we had first to follow the rule that we had to start numbering from such a ring which contains large number of carbon atoms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's your 6, 7, 8, and 9. So definitely it is your so first of all, what you will write, you will first write the bicyclo. It is the prefix used here, and then in the square brackets, so see 1, 2, 3, 4. I will write 4, and then it's 1, 2, 3. So 3, and then it is 0, and then after that we are having 9 carbon atoms. So I will write non, and then it is not now N, it is now E. It's nonene. This is very important, nonene. Now similarly, if there is a substituent, right? For example, let's have, we are having this one ring, this one here, one of the ring, and then let's say we are having another ring like this, right? And then let's say I'm here having the nitro group, NO2 group, nitro group. So here, this is very important. You will note down this one, and then you can name accordingly any bicyclic organic compound. So this is your bridged carbon. So what you will start numbering from this bridged. Now, will you do number 2 to this one? To which nitro group is attached? No. We have to first follow the rule that we have to start numbering to that ring which contains large number of carbon atoms. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That means you will do 1, 1 here, then it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? So that means it is simply 7 nitro. First of all, you will write the name of this substituent as secondary prefix, 7 nitro, and then it is your bicyclo, and then it is your, then you will write in square brackets, that is 3, dot 2 dot 0, and then you will write the heptane. So hope that you have understood this. These are the bicyclic organic compounds. Now let's start the next, that is the spiro compounds. They are also very important for NEET. So in case of spiro compounds, these are actually those compounds in which we are having one common carbon between the two rings. So I will write it here that there should be one common carbon with the help of which you can identify that it is a spiro compound. One common carbon is there. So let me give an example. For example, let's say we are having just like this. This is the common carbon here. Then let's see, this is one of the ring, and this one is your another ring here. So this is your common carbon, which you can see it here yellow. So this is the common carbon. And now in case of spiro compounds, we will just use first of all the prefix, that is the spiro, isn't it? And then the SAM, that is the square in square brackets. I will write the number of carbons in the rings. But here is very important, that numbering. We will not start the numbering from this this carbon. So first of all, you will remember that this is known as spiro carbon. So in case of bicyclic compounds, I told that it is known as bridgehead carbon, and we were numbering from that carbon. But here in case of spiro compounds, we will just do numbering next to this spiro carbon. So I will write it here 1, and then 2, and then this spiro is included 3, 4, and 5. So that means it is your pentane. But before that, see here in this, we're having 2 carbon, 2 here. So I will write 2.2. But this is very important that in case of bicyclic compounds, we were following descending order. But here we will follow the ascending order. And similarly, we have to start numbering in case of spiro compounds, we have to start numbering from that ring which contains lesser number of carbon atoms. Then we will give numbering to that ring which contains a large number of carbon atoms. So I will now write here the pentane. So you will learn how to name these spiro compounds from the next example, in which I will give different rings. So let's say we are having spiro compound like this. So let's see, just like this. Now here you can see that this is carbon, which is actually here. This carbon is your spiro carbon. So I have to start numbering next to this spiro carbon. So that's actually your this one carbon, because first we have to give numbering to the smaller ring. So 1, 2, 3, similarly 4, 5, 6, 7, isn't it? So that means it is your heptane, definitely. So first of all, what you will write here spiro, and then in the square brackets, I will now write what? We have to follow the ascending. So that means first I will write 2, and then dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 2.4. Ascending. This is the difference between the bicyclic and spiro compounds, and then I will write the heptane, right? This is your heptane. So hope that you have understood. Now let me give next examples on the next page. For example, if I am having bicyclic compound like this, not the bicyclic, let's take the spiro compound. So this one. So what you will do first of all, this is your spiro carbon. So numbering, we will start from the smaller ring, 1, 2, 3. Then this is your 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Exactly. So that means this is your octane, and first you will write the spiro, right? Spiro, and then in the square brackets you will now write 3.4. Ascending order you had follow here, isn't it? And numbering, you will remember it is a little bit different from that of bicyclic. So now you will write here the heptane, right? So similarly, if there is some substituent, you can, or double bond, you can name that one accordingly. So for example, let me give an example. So for example, let's say we're having just like this. So we are here having these two rings. So they are having one common carbon. So definitely it is your spiro carbon. Now this is your spiro carbon. You have to start numbering from this side. So I'll write here 1, 2, 3. Then this one is your 4. So let me say here it is your substituent chlorine, chloro. So you will write 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So definitely it is your nonane. But first of all, what you will write? You will write 5-chloro, isn't it? On carbon number 5, there is chloro. So 5-chloro. Then you will write this is your spiro, because there is one common carbon. And then what you will write? 1, 2, 3, 3.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3.5. Isn't it? This is your ascending order. You have to follow here. Then you will write the nonane. So hope that you have understood how to give IUPAC name to bicyclic and spiro organic compounds. If there is any doubt, any question, you can just comment in the comment section below.